What's the biggest promise your parents broke? I was 15 when my younger brother Jake got into a motorcycle accident that shattered his spine. He was in the ICU, tubes everywhere, barely conscious. Our parents stood at his bedside, holding his hand, tears streaming down their faces, promising they'd fight for him, stay by him, never let him feel alone. For a few weeks they did. They were there every day, bringing flowers, posting Facebook updates about miracles and faith. Then reality got uncomfortable. The surgeries dragged on, Jake's mood darkened, and the social media likes slowed. Slowly, our parents started coming late, leaving early, making excuses. We have to work to pay for everything, they said, even though insurance and a charity fund covered most of it. Meanwhile, I stayed. I learned how to suction Jake's lungs, turn him to prevent bed sores, change his catheter. I sat through endless therapy sessions where he cried in frustration, trapped in his broken body. I celebrated his tiny wins, a twitch of a finger, a successful swallow. When I texted mom updates, she'd leave me on red. When dad showed up, it was to tell Jake to toughen up. One night, Jake got pneumonia from lying flat too long. His oxygen tank ran out while I was in the bathroom. I sprinted to get a nurse, but by the time they stabilized him, he was barely breathing. I called our parents 8 times. No answer. They were at a winery 2 states away, celebrating their anniversary. Jake spent 2 days in the ICU again. I didn't see our parents until he was transferred back to rehab. They took smiling pictures next to him, captioned, "Our strong boy," and left before dinner. The final crack came during Jake's biggest surgery, the one that would determine if he could ever sit up again. Our parents promised they'd be there, said they wouldn't let him go through it alone. They no-showed. Car trouble, they texted. I held Jake's trembling hand before the anesthesia kicked in, whispered that I was proud of him, and prayed harder than I ever had in my life. Afterward, when he woke up scared and confused, I was the one he saw. I was the one he trusted. When Jake got discharged 6 months later, our parents threw a big party, rented a hall, invited hundreds of people to celebrate his amazing journey. Jake faked a smile the entire time. 2 weeks later, he told me he didn't want to live at home anymore. He couldn't. He didn't feel safe. We packed up and left that night, moving into a crappy 1-bedroom apartment I could barely afford with my minimum wage job. I became his legal guardian at 17. I gave up college to work full-time, setting alarms every 4 hours to reposition him through the night. 3 years later, mom called crying. Dad had suffered a stroke. He needed physical therapy, speech therapy, help with everything. Exactly what Jake had needed once. "We can't do this without you," she sobbed. "Family sticks together." I agreed to visit once. I walked into Dad's hospital room, saw the helpless look on his face, the IVs in his arms, the machines beeping. For a second, I thought about staying. Then I thought about Jake, sitting in the car outside because the building wasn't wheelchair accessible, because Dad hadn't even bothered to install a ramp when he first came home. I turned around without a word and left. That night, Jake and I sat on the floor of our tiny kitchen, eating instant ramen, laughing about nothing. He's in college now, studying biomedical engineering. He wants to build better wheelchairs, ones that feel like freedom, not prisons.